Well, hello everyone. I want to talk to you about the chill effect in voting. Right now, the state of Florida is going through a little bit of that, and that's one of the reasons I thought I should bring it up. Looking through why the Democrats are performing so poorly and why the Republicans are doing so well, I did a brief look on the voter registration statistics for the last, 7 or 8 years. And there has been, as everybody likes to point out on the Republican side, the number of voters in the Republican Party is larger than the Democratic voters. Whatever. Now, the reason that's important is that creates what we call a voting chill and also an income chill or funding chill. What happens is when the number of people that are registered voters for one party over another far outnumber the others, you have a hard time of getting your voters out to the polls to support your people because you figure, why try, because the other people are going to outdo it. Your candidates don't line up because they're like, why try, because this is a Republican state or Republican county or district or whatever. And the people that will fund those campaigns go, why should I give my money to people that are definitely going to lose? There's a lot of reasons why voter registration statistics then do matter, and you have to look at them. Now, one of the things I do want to point out is the Republican Party has been in charge of the voter registrations in this state for since 1994, 96, and Rick Scott started a thing when he was in there to purge the voting rolls of people that weren't voting and so on and so forth. Now, all these statistics are on the state elections, supervisor elections website. You can get them yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. But let me give you a couple backgrounds that I want to point out, and particularly here in my little county of Flagler County. In 2016, Flagler County had 24,930 Democrats registered to vote. And in 2016, we had 31,456 registered Republicans that voted. Now, before that, 2008, the Democrats actually were ahead by 1,000 votes. But let's just start with 2016. That meant that the Democrats in Flagler County had 6,500 less voters than the Republicans. But that wasn't a big deal because we had 23,000 independent voters. So even if we wanted to run and they were ahead, we could always depend on the independent voters to maybe stand up and, give the Democrats a hand. And people ran. We got funding. It was something we could do. However, that you will take another look at it, in 2024, we went from 24,930 Democrats down to 24,369. Now, the odd thing about that is that in Flagler County is the third fastest growing county in the United States. Not, Florida. The United States. We're adding people like crazy. And for some reason, the Democratic share of the vote totals went down. Now, to give you an example, the Republican vote totals went through the roof. In 2024, as I said, Flagler Dems had 24,000 registered voters. The Republicans, though, went to 48,000, almost 49,000 registered voters. There was a 25,000 vote difference between Flagler Democrats and Flagler Republicans. Not only did Flagler Democrats lose voters, but the Republicans gained double, more than double. And on top of that, the independents stayed the same. So how's that work out? Well, the same thing happened in Hillsborough County, which was supposed to be heavily Democratic. In 2016, Hillsborough County had 320,000 Democrats. In 2024, they only had 298,000 Democrats. Hillsborough County, one of the fastest growing counties in the state. However, the Republican side had 268,000 vote Republicans in 2016 and had 293,000 Republicans in 2024. Why are they gaining and we're losing? Well, maybe it has something to do with the registration numbers, and this is the reason I'm bringing it up. Starting in before 2020 to 2016, We've always removed voters from the rolls. Voters that were inactive, people that died, moved out of state, so on and so forth. And the average number of voters that we took off the rolls was averaged about 348,000 voters a year. Now, surprisingly enough, in that time frame, we actually removed, in between 2000 and 2016, over 17 years, we removed almost 6 million voters from the voter rolls. Okay? But on the other hand, we also had quite a number of people that moved into the state and registered. We had 12 million people register in those 17 years. So we had a net gain of 6 million voters. However, surprise, surprise, starting in 2017, they started doing what they call removing inactive voters. Well, inactive voters are voters that haven't voted in the last 2 federal elections. They couldn't get hold of by sending out a letter and getting something back or so on and so forth. There's a whole lot of reasons. When they started adding the inactive voters to the voter removal process, we went from removing an average of 348,000 voters a year to removing 500,000 voters a year. Yeah, 500,000 voters a year we're removing as compared to removing 350. We're removing an extra 150,000 per year over 11 years. Not 11 years, 8 years. That's another million voters. And surprisingly enough, almost all of them came from the Democratic Party. The Republican Party was increasing voters, but the Democrats were losing all the voters. And isn't that just an amazing little statistic? Now, you might not be from Flagler County, so you wouldn't know this history here. But in the Flagler County, the motor voter registration came along, and around 2003, 2004. And hey, big kudos out to Jeb Bush for starting these things and straightening out some of this stuff, because he got the motor voter registration going. He got all these other things straightened out after the 2000 elections. Anyhow, what was happening here, and what's still happening right now, is when you when you get your driver's license in the state of Florida, they also register you to vote. Now, a lot of people do that online, and a few people do it other places, but the far majority of people register to vote at the place where they get their driver's license, the tax collector's office, or wherever it happens to be in your county. In 2004, it was the DMVs where we went and registered to vote, and what we found out, and the Democratic Party found out, that what was happening in Flagler County was that if you did not declare a party, what was happening is the people behind the counter were automatically registering as Republicans. Now, we made a fuss, and we carried on and got mad about it, and we went back up to the state, and the state gave them directions down there without having to go to court or anything, saying you can't do that. And they stopped doing it. And surprise, surprise, as the registration totals leveled out, and the number of Democrats and a number of Republicans and independents voting just about numbered the same amount every year. And that was until recently. So the question I have is, are they doing it again? Are they asking them to register to vote, and are they goosing them on to try to get them to vote Republican, or are they just outright registering Republicans? I have no idea. I don't know, but those are one of the things you should be looking at. I do know the numbers are suspicious, and maybe somebody somewhere, maybe in the Florida Democratic Party, ought to actually take a look at this. But anyhow, having these difference in numbers and everything, they do create a chill effect. And it's very hard to get people to win in the state of Florida that are Democrats or even independents if the books are being cooked. There's no way that we can get anybody to do anything. So I just wanted to pass along to you about the chill effect, let you know what's going on, and hopefully you have yourself a very good afternoon. You take care of yourselves. Goodbye.